Hey guys, it's Danny. Today it's time to make an update on the Lechuza system. Yes, it's only been a few days, and actually I filmed this video 2 days ago. However, though, the first part of the video, the file was corrupted, I cannot use it, and that's such a shame because I actually did a measurement of the TDS in that part. Since I cannot use the footage, let me just tell you what I observed with my orchids. Now, I think it's pretty clear and it stands out. My Paphiopedilum has some issues. Now let's take a look at that leaf. There's a lot of pitting and a lot of damage. This portion feels very leathery. You can see it, it's so flexible, and Paphiopedilum leaves are not flexible. So this is very flexible, very leathery, looks dehydrated, looks burnt, to be fully honest with you guys. And on the back you can see the tessellation pattern there. This is not good. So this happened 2 days after the experiment. So I took a measurement of the water inside the reservoir. If you remember, I tried to rinse this medium. I couldn't, but the medium that I tried to rinse was here with the Phalaenopsis. The medium for the Paph was used as it is pretty much. I rinsed it, I just didn't properly soak it. It was a quick flush. So I took my little TDS meter here and I measured 700 parts per million dissolved solids in the reservoir of this Lechuza pot. Now, in my opinion, that's a lot. That is too much for any orchid. Maybe Cymbidiums could accept that amount, but in my experience, 700 parts per million nutrients, salts, minerals, whatever the water contained is too much for orchid roots. Last year, I played around with slow-release fertilizer, which I noticed this mix contained, and with my Catasetum orchids, and I managed to burn the root system pretty badly last year. I noticed it in time and everything is okay, my Catasetums are saved. So that's why I'm saying a 700 parts per million concentration is way too much for any orchid, with only a few exceptions. So I'm guessing whatever's happening here is due to the fertilizer added to this medium. So this is the first part of the video. I actually did the measurement live in that video. I lost the footage, so I guess you'll just have to take my word for it. But here is where I left off actually. I wanted to soak, completely soak, these pots to the brim, both of them, and see how much salts they leach out in the water. Mind you, the medium for the Phalaenopsis was actually rinsed better than the other one, since I tried to rinse it separately and I failed. So here's the continuation of that video. Alrighty then, it's been 10 minutes. I'm impatient. I wanted to leave them more, but so let's just drain as much water as we can here and then take a measurement with both of these orchids, keeping in mind the Phalaenopsis, the Phalaenopsis was already drenched like this, or actually the medium for it was already drenched like this. So let's see, in the Phalaenopsis pot we have 163, that's reasonable. In the Paphiopedilum pot we have 430 something. Oh no. We have to soak this guy again. So for the Phalaenopsis, things are pretty manageable. With the Paphiopedilum, I will flush again the entire pot. 400 is still too much for my liking, and particularly for a sickly orchid. So this one, I'm gonna dump the water and flush it again, put it back in its place. This guy, I'm going to soak yet again and try to get rid of more of the salts and come back when I'm done. So yet again, I am trying to soak and rinse the medium. I have water filled up to the brim, and we're gonna do the same thing. After a few minutes, test the water, see how we stand. But before we do that, in the meantime, I really wanted to address something. The habit of pre-fertilizing media in general. I find it to be such a bad habit, and I don't feel like it's helping anybody. Now, imagine this happened to a person that doesn't really know all that much about orchids, let alone having a TDS meter. So at some point with that amount of salts, I do believe the orchid's roots would have been burned. I'm saying this because I do have experience with that amount of salt. And even though companies do this in the hopes that it will feed the plants for a little while, you cannot make a recipe that goes for everything, not even with orchids. Maybe this amount of fertilizer would be okay for a Cymbidium, I'm just saying, but it's not okay definitely for Masdevallias, definitely for Miltoniopsis and other light-feeding orchids. So I'm not entirely sure how this Paphiopedilum will do, but I'm pretty sure that long term, if I didn't do the soaks, you know, I would have had issues. This is what I'm thinking. Now, since I do have some experience with claiming that a product is not good and then having the company say, oh no, you've misused it, I would really like to know if I misused this product, because on the Lechuza website, it would appear that this product can actually take the place of soil. Whenever soil cannot or should not be used, this product appears to be ideal for a whole range of plants, and you'll have the screenshots as it is right now on the screen. So if I misused it, if I should have rinsed it or anything, I would like somebody from Lechuza, if they're watching, to tell me. And if it is the case and there was nothing mentioned about it, then obviously there we go. I think you should mention it on the package or on the website, or make it more clear than this. Returning back to my discussion though, I still feel that with no matter what type of medium for orchids you're selling, you should not pre-fertilize it, because you cannot guess what orchid people will put in there. You cannot guess the amount of knowledge the person has. I immediately thought it was a little bit too much fertilizer, so I tested it and voila. But a person who doesn't know much about orchids has no idea what's happening and has no idea how to correct it. Maybe my flushes will actually correct the situation, but not everybody knows that that's what they should do. So again, who benefits from pre-fertilized medium? The orchid? No. The end user? No. The experienced user? No. The more inexperienced user? No. The company? No. Because there are more steps in the manufacturing process. You have to add the fertilizer. You're adding cost. You're adding steps. Who benefits from this pre-fertilization? I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I'm wrong here. Who knows what market research has been done? But yeah, those are my thoughts on pre-fertilized media. It's a no-no for me. I told you about it yesterday. And as far as the pond is concerned, these are my thoughts. This is my experience. It doesn't have to make it true, but I would actually like to point out that several people have come with their experiences which were not favorable. So I would rather just show you the comments on the screen, because I know companies don't have the time to look back and check the facts sometimes, you know. And as I was saying, I do have experience with a pissed off company. I'm just gonna make things very clear in this video. These are the comments that I actually got from you guys, from the people who claim they used this product. As you can see, some had good experiences as well as bad experiences. Some of my viewers had so much root damage with some orchids that they absolutely had to give up the system and work on recovering the orchid. So this is what the people told me. As you can see, varied opinions here, but because some of you guys had bad experiences, you know, that was an alarm for me, and I just had to pay more attention to my orchids, and I did, and behold, this is what's happening. So bottom line, is pond suitable for any type of orchid plant as it is standalone? I personally don't think so. I mean, that amount of fertilizer is certainly not okay for a masdevallia or for a sensitive rooted orchid. Paphiopedilum's not so sensitive, but you can see there's something going on with my Paphiopedilum. Is it related or not? I'm not entirely sure, but I do not like the reading. So yet again, a few minutes have passed of me soaking this medium, and we'll see what we have now. It's still a little too much, but it's a lot more reasonable than it was. So I think I'm gonna do it one more time, no point in filming it. And then I'm gonna place the orchid back and see how things develop further. Other than that, I really liked the medium. I liked that the top actually remained moist after these days. So the wicking system worked with this type of medium. There is some lava rock here as well. I don't feel like the medium will attract algae at the top, which is a bonus from the Ceramis, and I was really hopeful. I absolutely dislike the fact that it is pre-fertilized, and I would encourage companies, if you're watching, stop pre-fertilizing media. Media already contains a little bit of nutrient, a little bit of mineral content there. No need to add to it, or at least have the product in two options: pre-fertilized and non-pre-fertilized. So this is a couple of days later, and I think you can tell by the damage on my path that we are further in time. So today I want to do the very same thing. After I flush the heck out of these pots, I want to see if they continue to release fertilizer. And for this reason, I'm gonna soak them yet again and see what the TDS measures. Mind you, I'm starting to notice something on my Phalaenopsis as well. Do you see the base of the root here? It is browning. And also, this root in the back here, it's a little papery. It was not supposed to be that way, and also a little browning here. So I'm not entirely sure if my Phalaenopsis enjoys this pond medium either, but we'll see after I soak them. Oh, this sphagnum moss pot is still doing okay. Just put it here for decoration purposes. So just like last time, let's put osmosis water to the brim and let it sit for maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15, I'll see. I'll just do some chores in the greenhouse. I need more water here, so I'll come back when it's time to measure. Alrighty, so it's been 10 to 15 minutes and I'm curious to see what measurement do we read now. First in the Paphiopedilum pot. Wow, okay, so we have 123 parts per million. We're beginning with almost 20 parts per million water, osmosis water, so it added about 100, which is not bad. All right, so this is not all that bad. This is a much more appropriate, oops. Okay, this is a much more appropriate value. Let's see on the Phalaenopsis pot. Here we read something quite similar actually, 132 parts per million total dissolved solids. So this is a more appropriate reading indeed. I was thinking today to give up the pond, but I'm not sure. I think I will keep the pond and experiment with it just a little longer. Maybe the extent of the damage is the total extent of the damage. Maybe from now on things will actually be better. With the Phalaenopsis, I'll just keep my eyes on it. I do believe I had excessive salts, at least at the beginning, although as it is right now, I don't see any indication to rinse or soak or prepare in any way this medium, so maybe there should be. So I think I will keep doing the experiment with the pond. A few thoughts: the pond did stay moist at the top, it did wick water, and it's a really interesting medium. It has lava rock, zeolite, and all sorts of other things that you will see on the Lechuza website, so I am intrigued. I kind of like it. I suspect it will not produce algae at the top, but I really dislike and borderline hate the fact that it actually has slow release fertilizer. Because right now, even if I remove the excessive fertilizer or whatever this medium had, the slow release fertilizer will continue to release those nutrients. And I'm not sure if they're excessive for the types of orchids I'm working with or not. But that shall be for another video. I'll keep you up to date. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know again what your experience has been with the medium and the system itself. So thank you guys so much for watching. You know the drill. If you've enjoyed this update, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe to my channel for regular orchid videos, experiments, Q&As, tutorials, and things of the sorts. And if you like YouTube to notify you whenever I upload a new video, just turn on all notifications for my channel. And with that said, I'll see you all next time. Bye!